Hello and welcome to the Futurist Letters Show. My name is Cairo Smith. I am the founder and editor-in-chief of Futurist Letters, the journal. I am also the main host of the Futurist Letters Show. If you want to sponsor the show, as you know, this is where your sponsor message will go. So go to futuristletters.com and you can go ahead and sponsor us. Today we have a very lovely one-on-one for you. We are talking with the actor, the writer, the filmmaker, and a friend of mine for many years through many paths, Dakota Loesch. And this is a little bit of a just kind of happened to paths cross. So we're very happy to have Dakota for the, I believe, second of our fall series of the Futurist Letters Show, talking about film, probably talking about experimental theater, talking about what it means to be this sort of artist, working with what we have in our hands. So all that being said, I will let him introduce himself. Dakota, thank you for coming on the show. And for those who don't know you, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Heck yeah, Cairo, thank you for having me, buddy. It's great to see you. The hair is perfect as always. You're giving me Warren Zevon, Werewolves of London, and his hair was perfect. You know what I mean? I love it. Give me that noir moment. My name is Dakota Michael Loesch. I am a screenwriter. I'm an actor in immersive theater and film. And I am going to be a first-time director. I'm directing my first feature film, One Last One, and we are gearing up and currently running a fundraiser for that. So I'm out there hawking my wares and going door to door and doing the old carpet huckster thing like my family taught me, you know.
Yeah,
So
and what is the name of this film that you are working on?
So the film is called One Last One, and it's a kind of a punk rock gangster fairy tale. It's about Chico. Chico is a wannabe gangster who's running with a crew that double crosses him. So they betray him, they beat him, leave him for dead, dump him in a river. And when he comes to, he's in this weird world that's like dominated by child militias and dwelling armies and weird mysterious pack of wolves, and they're all hunting after Chico. He is public enemy number one, so he's just trying to
Mm-hmm.
get home if home exists anymore, you know. So yeah, a little punk rock fairy tale, a little take Ray
Where
Liotta
does the
from
punk rock
Goodfellas.
come in there? Are you seeing it in the soundtrack? In the Obviously you have some punk rock history, right?
Right. Yeah. I grew up in punk rock. Like my mom called me out of school when I was 15 to go on my first tour. Thank you, mom. It worked. And I think it's in a lot of the project, but it's mostly in the ethos of like this, like Three Musketeers, all for one for all kind of thing, community. That's what punk always meant to me, was taking care of each other, you know, like Island of Lost Toys or the Lost Boys or whatever you want to call it. Just your little ragtag group. Everyone takes care of each other. So it's in that. It's in some of the aesthetics and fashion. It's in some of the music, though the music itself, the movie mute. Like there are punk bands within the world, and even though the word band is a little open, more of a war band than a band. But
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? But the music itself does have more of a classical, is going to have a bit more of a classical approach to just build out this fantasy world. It's almost as if the world it's set in is like a cargo cult where all that was left was punk rock, and you had to build all of culture and
Yeah.
all of society from that.
I was gonna ask, it reminds me a little of like Streets of Fire did that a little with that sort of
Yes, sir.
not punk rock but rock and roll. So that's
Absolutely.
kind of what it reminds me of a little, that fantasy world where the the groove you get into when you're in this culture is like omnipresent in the film world.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And finding a way to, I don't know how to say it exactly. It's not legitimize the poetry, but like to make the poetry the word incarnate, like inside jokes and little terminology becomes an actual thing. Like, for example, there's all these punk war bands in this world. One of them's called the Van Keys, because in real life, if you're a band on tour, you can never find van keys. Your van keys are always missing.
Hmm.
But you know, in this, they're the most populous war band in our movie because there's van keys everywhere. So you find a way to play with the poetry, legitimize it, make it a part of the world. You know, and we do that even in the casting. Like there's another group called the Muckalucks. Well, in real life, we're going to have all our me and Alex Crawford, the actor and producer, executive producer, we're going to cast all the directors we've worked with before to play the Muckalucks. You know what I mean?
Great.
So the inside jokes are on all sides, and it's open to anybody. It's like an open door policy.
So how much is this, say, Scott Pilgrim versus like bodily fluids and broken teeth, or what is the like level of grittiness that we're living in here?
Yeah, well, you know me. You know the kind of stuff I like to make. It's like it's all fun and games till someone loses a head. You know what I mean? And to play with like what type. There's all types of movie violence too. There's slapstick and there's cartoonish and there's action, and then there's the stuff that really sticks with you. The stuff you probably shouldn't have seen. So like there's just like a whole color box of stuff there, and that's interesting to me. And then drawing as much from like. Studying no wave a lot. If we're doing post-apocalyptic, I want to do post-punk. Like if this is when the world ends, what happens when punk ends? What happens when culture ends? Use that as the basis for the story. So
you said no wave, N-O?
Yeah, no wave. Like so,
what
like
is that for?
That's like late 70s, early 80s movement based on the East Coast and like New York a lot. It's where like bands like Sonic Youth come out of. Glenn Branca was a big composer. He did like these weird experimental compositions where it'd be like 30 people playing detuned guitars, just playing an E flat chord or whatever. You know what I mean? And then out of it, it's like when punk ended, or when everyone kind of copped the rules of punk, where it's like break all rules. It's like, then why are we just playing 3 chords for 2.5 minutes? You know what I mean? And people started getting really weird, and cellos show up, and people are dressed in theatrical, and it's like how once you break through that, it's like, well, what is punk? You know what I mean? And what do you do after it? And so there's a lot of interesting music, and looking at concrete music, like this early experimental music that comes out of Europe in like mid 20th century. And just how that could influence aesthetic style, and not just go into music or movies for the world, but like thinking outside of those mediums, like artists like Egon Schiele, just like these twisted, beautiful, dirty bodies, or thinking about like Stravinsky's Rites of Spring, like, which isn't a movie, it isn't Fantasia, that's the dinosaur sequence, but you know what I mean? Just like how those might influence the world and the story. And dipping toes.
A lot of the influences you just mentioned, it's very much rooted in the 20th century, late 20th century. I like the 20th century art.
Me too,
or even earlier. Do you feel the film dipping into the present or the recent past of punk rock, or not so much?
A little bit. Well, it's almost like, if we start shooting tomorrow, it's like what would you say, like the world ended yesterday then, you know what I mean? Like, so we could come all the way up to here. What I want, I don't like cell phones in movies. They ruin everything. There's no plots, can't exist, because it's like, why didn't you call me? You should have just texted me, get on WhatsApp, tell me where you're at.
Did you see It Follows, the like compact phone? Or
I haven't seen that one. No, I have not seen that one. That's one
of
the
few I've not seen. They're in a very strange sort of unreality. I'll just let you see it because it's hard to explain.
Hell yeah. Yeah, well, one I really liked was, I just don't like the thing that takes me out of the world too much. I've seen it done a couple times where it's good, but like bubbles on screen always kind of take me out. I loved in The Departed where he's got to like text on a like letter phone in his pocket real quick. Like that's the actuality of how a phone might mess you up in the modern day or whatever. I just think they ruin plots. So I like a world where, we've lost the grid, we've lost any, satellite, whatever, where if you want to run electricity, you better go steal gasoline from whatever down car is left. You know what I mean?
Almost like a post EMP, not to world build for you.
No,
that's very cool. I have a thought hearing all this because it sounds so cool. Making this movie, especially at an indie scale, sounds hard. Are you nervous?
Yeah, but like good nervous, and like
good nervous. Okay.
Yeah.
You feel like you're in a good position to pull this off?
Yes. Yeah, there's a little bit, everything's a little bit just like it's going to be a reach, but I think if we play this one right, you know what I mean? And, for the last 15 years, I've been working mostly as an actor in theater and immersive theater and like indie film. So like I've done a lot of favors. I put my name out there. I earned my salt, and like
explain
did my time.
Immersive theater for the people that don't know. I think this is worth explaining because it's very cool.
Absolutely. Immersive theater is what I've been involved in out here in LA. It's really kind of took off in LA, New York, London was a big one with this company Punch Drunk. They're an early one, but so it's theater where you as a viewer are actually an active contributor to the story in different ways. Each story is different. Each play or show is different, has its own rules and parameters. But in some, you can directly influence the outcomes of the story. You can interact with characters. You might even become a focal point of a story. And there was just like a real boom out here in like 2015-ish. There are a bunch of companies were cropping up, and certain shows were starting to become like permanent, buying buildings where you can go to the show
Yeah.
regularly. So yeah, it's just like I think it stems a little bit, grew out of environmental theater and experimental theater and a little theater of the absurd. But you know, it's just like in our modern media, we kind of want to be an active participant. Now that we got video games and VR, we want to be the character. We don't want to see the character do the thing. We want to be the character, you know? So,
I would imagine most people who aren't into seeking out art experiences, their main experience with immersive theater is probably something like a haunted house or
yeah.
a theme park. What is the relationship between that kind of stuff and what you do?
Yeah, or like there's one in Chicago called Tony and Tina's Wedding. That was an early on one where you go to like an Italian wedding. Are you on the bride's side? Are you on the
Huh.
husband's side? You know what I mean? And you get spaghetti and whatever, and it's a whole dinner, and uncle gets too
Why do
drunk.
people decide to put these on? Is it just a creative spark like any other?
Yeah, there's something about it. I've only done, I haven't done too much traditional theater. I've mostly done immersive. But the
Hmm.
difference that I noticed was just like, you know, people who are into it are way into it and like come to shows over and over and over again because you can follow different tracks, different characters, never see the same show twice. And it's that interactive quality of like you're in the movie, you're in the show, it's you and them, you know, and you're right here, you know. And the acting for it's really interesting because you got to be in a wide shot and an extreme close up at all times.
Yeah, explain, maybe for people who know conventional acting, explain how you would even begin. I mean, you're essentially doing improv as well, right?
Yes, yeah. Kind of at all times it's on
Hmm.
potentially. You know what I mean? It's floated. So you'll often it'll be shows are built around tracks where you as an individual character, you have your own track, so do all the other characters. The show itself has a track, but it's so a lot of people are interacting with each other. You're
Meaning physical locations you're supposed to be at
where
a
you're
certain
supposed to
point
be
in the
by a
night.
certain time. Maybe you're cued off by
Okay.
a sound or another actor brings someone and you're
Is
grabbing
your
on.
cue. Okay.
Those are your
Because you
cues.
can't be, unless there's a clock in the scene, you can't be looking at your phone. I guess you could have a watch, right?
That becomes one of the art forms, though. You could potentially, if the character has a watch, you know, you play it
If it's
in world,
motivated.
you get diegetic about it, you know, so it'll be
Yeah.
sound cues. It'll be when this character crosses with their one on one with their audience member, you go. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of timing and it's a lot of ballet and like precision, you know, clock making kind of stuff. And so you all got your tracks, but then the how the audience interacts with you can really influence that. Are they in a good mood, bad mood? They want to play with you. Are they a world breaker? They want to get away with something.
Yeah.
Are they timid? They don't want to interact. They just want you to take them through. So it's
I
always a
imagine
different show.
I
Yeah.
imagine a lot of people when they imagine going to a show like this, they almost get gripped with these intrusive thoughts. What if I break it, either on purpose or by accident?
I
What
love
if I
those.
do,
I
it's
love
like
those audience members.
when someone boots up Skyrim, I'd say 30-40% of the time within the first hour they murder someone's chicken
Yeah.
just to see what happens. And then the guards chase them down and they have to restart. Like, is there a chicken murdering equivalent impulse of immersive theater? Do people like mess around in predictable ways?
Yeah, and they send them my way. I love them. They're called world break. They're
You
called
like
world
working with
breakers.
the troublemakers.
Oh, absolutely. Again, came you could take the kid out of punk rock. You can't take punk rock out the kid, you know. But like I love them. They're called world breakers. That's like one of the terms for them.
Okay.
Where it's like early on, you will get a set of rules or not rules, but like how the show works for everyone. Sometimes it's like if a door's locked or closed, don't open the door. That's the first thing they're gonna do is try to open the door. So you can pinpoint them and be like, don't worry, they're on my track tonight. Hey, come in here. You know what I mean? So you can work within the diegesis of the show to like I'll take care of that one. They come with me. They're on my track tonight. They're my special one on one. I'm watching them or whatever. And then there's people who do it playfully and fun, kind of puckish about it. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
people come for all kinds of reasons. Some people will come to tons of shows and do not speak a word, even if it's asked of you. Like they want a more traditional viewing. Some people are like the 11th member on the team. You know? So it's fun.
There's one that I went to. I was trying to remember the name. I believe it was called Sleep No More.
Yep.
The Macbeth one in Manhattan, and that one you're actually supposed to be mute the entire time. You wear a
Yes.
mask and you can't speak.
Yeah, I saw that one in
Um,
London. That's by Punch Drunk. They're like the, penultimate. They're like Coca-Cola. They're the New York Yankees. You know what I
got it.
mean? They're the brand,
Now, are they? If they're the biggest one, is this? Would you call it corporate? Is there like big
There's
institutional money in this, or
more and more, yeah. It's and
more and
especially
more?
with like brand activations, a lot of companies, specifically like your Netflixes, Hulu's,
Mm,
Apples, they'll do like these brand activations because again, people want to interact in the world. So they'll hire out immersive companies and their cast will embody the world. I don't know if it's the movie Megan, you got a bunch of people dressed as Megan on the red carpet. You're
right.
interacting with Megan, or if it's Sinners, you got kids dressed like the cast of Sinners or whatever. So they do a lot of brand activations to extend premieres, parties, galas, award
How do
season.
you
It gets
feel
big.
about that? That doesn't
It's
sound very punk
interesting.
rock on its surface.
It doesn't, does it? No, no. But
No.
everyone makes their bread and butter. The kids working on it. You're getting paid. It's blue collar. It's
Right.
long hours. Your boots on the floor. You're talking to thousands of people sometime at like a Comic-Con or stuff. So it's fun. It's fun work. It's hard work. The corporate side is interesting. It's not where I like to fund stuff from, but also it takes care of a lot of people and it pays the bills and whatever. But I was always attracted to like these kind of weird offshoots of the medium. Like I was a company member for an immersive theater company called Ceaseless Fun, and they were really like challenging, interesting work. Not just like Haunted House or Boo or
Yeah.
it was like really heady and
I want to tie
strange
this up
worlds.
because
Yeah,
we've got a
yeah.
lot to cover, but I
Sorry,
want
sorry.
to ask before we move on, if someone is hearing this and they're just getting a fire lit under them and they're thinking, I need to go to one of these. I guess we can't cover every city, but LA, Chicago, New York. Do you have any recommendations? London, I guess any places that they should check out?
Yeah, I got couple great resources actually. There's one called NoPro, which is No Proscenium, and they just like are the hub for all things kind of immersive.
NOPRO.
NOPRO, NoPro. If you look them up, you'll find their website, or they have
Got
a
it.
Facebook group. They have a couple like social media groups. So NoPro, they're a great resource for shows that are ongoing, people that are setting stuff up, just getting into the
Yeah.
community. And then another one is Everything Immersive. That's another like there's a couple websites like that track the scene, and you can find out what's going on. And it's becoming more
Yeah.
and more not just big city stuff. It's everywhere. I got friends doing it in like Lowell, Massachusetts, and Louisville, Kentucky, and all over the place. So
Yeah, there were headlines I remember 10, 15 years ago. There's these extreme haunted houses, these places with contact with waivers.
yeah, no,
Is
no,
there
I
an
hate that.
extreme edge of immersive theater? Is there any aspect to this with contact and
Yeah,
or
there is.
intense experience?
There is. If you want to find that route, there is some like stuff that dips more into horror and then does become a bit more haunted housey to me, like extreme haunted housey to
Interesting.
me. Like it kind because of the nature of it, it's pretty open and it could be anything from, I think I've heard the capital I immersive word used for a lot of stuff that isn't, I mean, it's technically, we're all here in a room together talking, but is that you know what I mean? So it's kind of a blanket term that's used in a lot of
Huh.
ways. So I don't know. It's kind of nebulous and growing. It's one of the most overused. It's like how Epic was overused to death at the end of the 2000s. Now everything's immersive.
So you did this. You were in it long before it was cool. You rode this wave. You're still in this wave, but you have decided to write, direct, and produce
Yes, sir.
your first feature.
That's right.
What was the moment where you said to yourself, I'm doing this? Where did it come from?
I think it was after this full run with Anchorage, which was the last picture I worked on. I was a screenwriter, one of the two leads in it, and producer on it. And after we had done our whole run and done our independent release and put out the VHS tapes and everything, and I was just like, well, the tour's over. Now what? Like,
Run
I've
meaning a festival and
yeah,
theatrical run?
festival
And why
runs. Yeah,
would you put out VHS tapes?
because why not? We love VHS tapes. It was always just like a cool idea. We could have it on the collection, and where would it be? It'd be somewhere between Anaconda and Zootopia.
Right.
But so yeah, it was, and just kind of in the world, like the like old old school technology,
Okay.
an old broken
So the
down
dust
car.
settled on Anchorage.
Yep.
Explain Anchorage in a few sentences for our
Happy to. I wrote the
watchers.
copy, so I'm happy.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
I don't want the copy. I want
Okay, okay.
a key part.
It's like a spiritual end of the road trip for these two brothers. They're low level drug runners. They're trying to get a cache of drugs stuffed in teddy bears from Florida to Alaska. I don't know if they're gonna make it, guys. They're getting high on their own supply, and it gets a little biblical, if you know what I mean, between these two brothers. So, yeah, and it was
It
kind
does.
of
In full transparency, I've seen this. In full transparency, I know probably I think I know everybody on screen in this film. I just had dinner actually with Soren,
heck
Mr.
yeah,
Pumpkinhead, the other day.
Mr. Rotten
So I'm
Pumpkinhead.
filling out my Anchorage bingo card.
That's
Yes.
amazing. Yeah, and your pops was
But
awesome too. He was awesome.
it is a small world to some degree. Is there anyone from the Anchorage team that is making a reprise
Yeah,
on your new film?
funny you should say, but Soren Royer McHugh is going to be acting in the picture. Savannah Wheeler, was the composer, is going to be composing for this picture as well.
Right.
Who else do we got in there? I know I'm missing a couple, but yeah, a couple people showed up from there.
Your DP, I forget her name. She was
And
really
Nafy,
good.
so amazing. Yeah, they are just skyrocketing. They're doing killer work all over the place, and they are a great fine artist in their own right. They do a series of self portraits that are just stellar. Just yeah, and they're great.
So too big for you now?
No, they're just they're like doing their own art. Like they really stepped into being like a solo artist and stuff, and are shooting pictures and stuff too. But like they're really like full on doing their self portraiture work and photography work, and it's stellar work. Like great technician, great artist.
That was really. I'm glad I got to see it as many times as I did, and I'm glad I got to see it on the big screen in DCP to really just soak up all the goodness. Listener, I know this sounds like a shill, but I promise I was not personally involved in Anchorage. It's a good movie, and if you are a watcher of this show, you are probably an artist or aspirationally an artist in some regard. So if you want to see what can be done with, what was the budget?
Ooh, I think the shooting budget was about $20K.
If you want to see the kind of movie you can make with $20K and a lot of talent, and some questionable police run-ins and just gumption and grit, go check it out. We could probably do a whole Anchorage episode. What did you learn on that you are going to be applying here? What are you going to do differently?
Oh, so much. What do we do differently? I think differently, the major thing was like really crewing and casting up way ahead of time on this one. When we did Anchorage, it was just me and Scott Monahan starting the thing. And so we were like doing all the stuff behind the scenes. It was really just the two of us, press and pre-production and all this stuff and fundraising. And so this time it was like, well, let's get all the cast and crew and teammates and team members, bandmates together, and then we'll get started on the whole project. So that was like the big major difference. A lot of stuff I'm going to keep is like shooting chronologically as much as possible. Found that so helpful. I don't know why we don't do it because Cary Grant's not available till Wednesday. I mean, well, if you could, I think you should shoot chronologically. Story evolves, you gain stuff from it. Everyone's on the same page. Even if you're doing an inkling of any sort of improvisation or growth within the process, it's the way to go. It's better than sliced bread, you know.
There was a world where we were planning Screwdriver, my first 5-figure feature, and there really is
Screwdriver, guys. Screwdriver.
Yeah.
Jeez,
Go see Screwdriver.
Love that picture.
There was a world where I wanted to shoot it chronologically, and I think a few meetings with my first AD made me realize how much time we could save not doing that. But what I settled for was a full week of rehearsals, sort of theater-esque rehearsals, straight through until we had it front to back with those builds. Yes, so I agree. Shooting in sequence is what they call it. Shooting in sequence.
Thank you. Yeah, shooting
in sequence.
Very
cool when you can pull it off.
Yeah, it was just so helpful.
All right, what else? Any other life lessons?
Best idea wins. Doesn't matter who it comes from. That's not like everyone telling everyone else what to do. It's like let's filter it through and see where it fits. But great ideas can come from anywhere. Be open to those mistakes. and coincidences and magic and stuff. A location can change and end up saving your movie, you know, because you have to shoot over here instead. It's like, this place is way better, you know. Be open to that. I'm open to, I really like not trying to bring the world to the script, trying to bring the script to the world, like really drawn from resources, what you have access to. Hey, it was written as a swimming hole, but this guy's got an abandoned swimming pool. Use the abandoned swimming pool. That's easy. You know what I mean? And being open to how the world wants to collaborate with you, or kismet, or the cosmos, whatever you want to call it, good luck, dumb luck, anything like that.
I think that's possibly one thing that people don't realize about directing. If they've never done it, maybe, I don't know, we'll see if you agree on the other side, but it's like, everyone knows you need taste, you need to be a good leader, you need to command respect, all this stuff, you need to be fair. You need to have a tolerance for making so many decisions for weeks or months. I mean, seriously, probably 10 to 20,000 decisions a day. And like, you can't burn out. Like, if a costumer comes to you while you're trying to frame a shot with 3 different fabrics and says, which one of these do you want to go with? You know, I mean, you know how it is. You need to be able to stop, switch into costume mode, imagine each of those fabrics on your actor, and make not an arbitrary choice, but an actual grounded choice that like reinforces the big picture. You know, I mean, that's just,
well, and you want to
go
you want to go 3D chess on it for a second too. You need to know what that person, that crew member you're communicating, needs from you in communication at that moment. Do they want a quick answer? Do we need to have a conversation? Even if we only have 5 minutes, can I allot 3 to them? Because it is a shared experience. That's the other thing.
That's
temperature and ease and mutual appreciation. Everyone looking out for everybody. I'm talking bring water. I'm talking drink water, take a break, go for working all that in, feeding everybody.
You know, it's funny, these sound like punk show rules.
That's it. You know what I mean? That was it. We would show up. They'd feed us first. They'd show us where we were sleeping and be like, when does the show start? When everyone shows up. When does it end? When everyone leaves. You know what I mean? And it was a good show. And half the kids who came to the show would end up crashing there, you know? So that's the spirit, the core I'm trying to take from the past, my rock and roll past, whatever, bring into the indie filmmaking. And then
I want to ask something about specifically your film, that maybe this is more of a philosophical level thought, but as you were describing it, I was thinking there's a tension. There's this something that on the surface might almost seem contradictory, although I don't think it is, where you've got this punk rock that is all about this community, this sort of banding together, this sort of mutual aid, and yet it's also a world in many ways defined by conflict, you know, like against the man, or you have rival bands, or if you have gangs or crime or drugs, people ripping each other off. How do you synthesize all the community and all the conflict together into one picture?
Oh, that's what it is. I didn't do that. That's just how community exists.
That's
you know what I mean?
Is.
I mean, it's like our whatever, our better natures and our stronger demons. You know what I mean? Like it's like why whatever Marxism, communism works on paper but not on flesh. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, it's a great idea. We'll all be even, but I'm a little bit more even than you. I'm even more equal than you. You know what I mean? 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. You know what I'm saying? Like that Animal Farm stuff. Like, well, then the pigs start walking upright. Now we're in trouble. You know, so the conflict is what I love. It's the stuff I hate in real life. I love in the movies. You know what I mean? People arguing, like family and friends at each other's throats, random acts of violence that leave a permanent stain. Just like all that stuff I hate in real life. It's just like, food for the soul.
I think we do a lot of our processing in art, and not just as creators, but also as viewers and recipients. And
catharsis.
I think it's almost the unexamined fear that's scarier, right? So if we can do a little examining with a little punk rock soundtrack, we come away a little more grounded. If I could pitch your film for you.
Hey, come on now. He's writing his own copy.
So, who is your DP?
Our DP is Kyle Bauer. He's of D5 Pictures out of Columbus, Ohio. And I actually met him. Our last festival we played on Anchorage tour was Columbus,
great.
Cinema Columbus. they were the local filmmakers in town we knew through friends of friends, and we just hung out and partied and brought him the audience award trophy and like had a party with that. And yeah, it was great. Yeah, and so we
It
just
is
kept in
wonderful the
touch.
people you
Yeah,
meet at festivals. I mean, we're
amazing.
taking Red Team, my new short, out to Soho in Manhattan, and
Beautiful.
it's definitely a big undertaking to get even just the above the line people out there. But it's like you spent so much work making it, you gotta go be in the community. You know, it's like
Absolutely.
you wouldn't write poetry for a reading and then not go to the reading. So this is
Right.
kind of like going to the reading. You know, you got to do it.
Right. Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
I'm hoping we meet maybe even future collaborators.
That has happened
There
so much on tour for me. Yeah.
is he small? Because your last EP was quite small, and you were able to fit them into like the backs of cars. And,
Yeah.
you know, I remember those shots where it was like, where is the human?
I'm telling you, and Aaron, like, I think we had the big Ari, so that thing was like half the size of them, you would just see legs sticking out and a hat behind
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean, Kyle's crafty though. He can move around. He's good in flatbeds of pickup trucks, in tiny spaces
There
in
you
a pinch,
go.
and he's big on
Okay,
like,
now I'm imagining your guy just like hauling ass, and you've got him sort of, you know.
oh yeah, you're seeing it.
Don't let
You're seeing
anyone
pitches
fall out
now.
of a
Yeah.
fall out of
No.
a
We don't do anything.
pickup truck.
I don't like to put people's life at risk for a movie. At the end of the day,
That's
is a
kind of
movie, you know?
overrated.
Well, and there's stunt professionals who know how to do this stuff. Let's hire
Yeah.
them. You know, like I got a stunt
Maybe not the
coordinator on this
program.
picture. I've never had a stunt coordinator before, and I'm like, the story calls
You
for
have a
it.
stunt coordinator for this picture?
Yeah, I don't know if I can announce his name yet, but we have a great stunt coordinator, and he
Okay.
works in the industry and like wants to, you know, like he's friends of people working on the picture and wants to work on something like this and was interested by the story. So, you know, the story called for it, and it's like, I don't know how to do that. How about this? Hire someone who does and get out of their way and let them do their job. You know, you collaborate, but
Yeah.
like, I'm not going to pretend I know how to do stunts or this. Or like I know I'm starting to learn lenses and cinematography talk, but I ain't a cinematographer. Let everyone do their job that they're
Yeah.
great at, you know? Like I'm not in it for ego. I don't have to be like, I came up with that idea. And this was I really don't. That's not my game, you know? Like I think it takes a tribe for a good movie, you know?
I think there is an inherent. It's funny. You say you're not in it for ego, and in the sense of being a narcissist, I think absolutely that you're not that kind of guy. I know you well enough to know that. But there is an inherent. It's inherently self-referential to
That
make a
for
film
sure.
about
It
what you
is.
like. I mean, you can't get away from that.
No, and you're doing your therapy for everyone else's $12.50 or whatever,
Yeah.
for sure. You know what I mean? I get that. I'm hawking my wares,
Yeah.
but I'm hawking, you know, like I'm doing the shadow work or whatever. You know what I mean?
Are you have you followed Jungian practice? Is that something interesting to you at all?
I
What
dip
are the
a little
schools
bit.
of
I like
psychology
yeah, I like his dream stuff is what really interests
Okay,
me. You
cool.
know, when you get the
I think it's good
scientist who
for-
goes
for
a little
filmmaker.
yeah, when you get the scientist who goes a little bit down this tributary, gets a little artistic or a little hooty-dooty about it, I like that, you know, just as much as a mystic who gets into
You
mathematics.
can't just mainline empiricism.
No.
I mean, I recently I wrote. I think this was maybe just in my like behind the scenes of a post. By the way, become a paying subscriber to the journal, and you can read those from everybody. But I was talking about like grappling with this existentialism a little bit. This sort of existential. I don't know if it was at the level of crisis, but it was certainly unpleasant.
Yeah.
And what I ended up doing was I said, okay, I can't just will this away, but I can reframe it. And what I ended up doing was kind of reframing this existential woe into, and this sounds very silly, but basically sort of being haunted.
Yeah.
Like I almost took this romanticist
Yeah.
view where I said, okay, I'm gonna, you know, take away the philosophy, you know, the J.L. Mackie, and put on the Mary Shelley a little. I'm gonna embrace the woo-woo just for the sake of being in that cognitive space. I think it's important for an artist.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I like it both. I mean, they're both different sides of the same coin, really. You know,
Yeah.
what if the
They're both
coin
important.
lands on its end and just stands there? You know what I mean?
I think that one thing I want to get into for the sake of the listeners, and I want to frame it, is if someone wants to make, let's assume that they have some modicum of talent and taste, because obviously this is a prerequisite. And we could have a whole separate discussion on how to determine if you have talent and taste. But for the purpose of this, let's assume they do. How do you go about putting on your 5-figure movie?
Oh, wow.
Well,
Where do you
you've done
start?
one.
Yeah, where do you start? I mean, like the dumb, easy answer is like get going. So there is a laundry list of things you're going to have to do over the course of your movie. You can get started tomorrow, today, 5 minutes ago. And it could be, are you crewing up? Do you have access to resources and monetary stuff? Are you setting that up? Do you already have your script in line? How many
Yeah.
drafts of that have you done? Have people read it? Have you gone through it, given it a little, you really tried it out, like stress tested? Are you ready to go? What do you have access to? Can you reverse engineer some stuff off of that? Get started is the only thing to do. Because if you're ready to go today, you're going to see your movie in theaters in a year and a half, maybe if you're lucky. On an indie scale, if you're self-funded it and you're self-producing it, the one resource you do have that you will be spending as much of as you can is time. And you got to be real smart and careful with it. And what it means is sweat equity. That's what we always say, sweat equity. It's in our copy. That's crazy. Yeah. And it's just like, that's where it is the work is the work. Do the work. It's all those platitudes, one foot in front of the other. It's all that. The work ain't going to do itself. Literally just get going. Also, if money wasn't an issue, forget that part of it for a second. There's still all that stuff you got to do, right? Get working on that stuff. You don't need the money to do that stuff. You know what I mean? So there's so much you can do, and really dig deep when thinking about resources. You're like,
Did you read a book or a blog or anything to take in this knowledge? How did you come to know how to do this?
just, I guess, from just like when we were in punk bands and stuff, and our filmmaking started with like music videos and short films and stuff like that for the band. And it was always just like with the band too. I never owned a guitar. I was in a band for 15 years, never owned a guitar. It's like, I'll be in the band if you got equipment for me. So it's just getting scrappy and resourceful. What can we do? Like making sets out of cardboard.
Yeah.
And, we used to have a variety show. The host was this giant puppet that was just a renovated cabinet. His name was Cabby Cabaret.
Where were you distributing this online?
Yeah, just on YouTube. That was a fun one called Friday Night Somewhere. It's Friday Night Somewhere,
Yeah.
And we would like host.
That reminds me of the stuff like Dan Harmon was doing, like Channel Zero or whatever it was called. There's a lot of that scrappy stuff. And was that the late 2000s, early 2010s?
That's when we were doing it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when YouTube was just starting up and stuff. God, I sound old. When YouTube, before Netflix,
I was busy being like a child, but I was watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's a lot of where it came from. And that's the goal, is like infuse all that into the indie filmmaking and how you do the filmmaking and what the modus operandi is and what the goal is and the operative, how you go about it,
You're on Anchorage. You were co-leads with Scott Monahan.
Scott Monahan.
You mentioned earlier, and he was the director.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yep.
Did you write it together as well?
So we would so this is the process that we use in a lot of our filmmaking, or that I've used and I know friends use as well. And it's based a lot from immersive theater, where we devise together. A lot of that'll come from improvisation, and we'll record it or transcribe it and then revise it, redevise, re-revise. So what we would do is we would get together with Meredith Trinan, who is our associate director, and kind of keep an eye on performance and characters and all this. So we would get together.
You said associate director?
Associate director, yeah.
I've never heard this
phrase. I think they made it up. For the movie. Yeah, totally. But so we would work with Meredith, like getting the body, because to do all this character work and building. Me and Scott, I had a list of maybe like 30 to 50 scenes that these characters could possibly get into. We'd riff through a bunch of them, key ones, keep these, move
on, like
these.
Index cards, Post-its.
I would record audio on GarageBand, or on my phone, take it home, transcribe it, move it around, rewrite it, have an idea for a scene, put that in there. So that's how we slowly cobbled a script together. We had a 45-page script for like an 80-minute movie, so about half of what you're supposed to have. And what we really had was like ins and outs, knowing where we needed to start and where we needed to end. And we kind of left it open, like, let's go find it on the road, rehearsed up to a point where we felt solid. And it's like, let's find it on the road. You know what I mean?
I don't know much, but I believe he is in pre-production on a feature.
I think he's shooting a feature.
They found a location, I think.
Yeah, they're shooting a feature at the beginning of next month, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's I think he told me at one point to make it happen, you just have to force a date, and then the movie will construct around the date, which I could never do. That would stress me out too much. But if it works for you guys, more power to you.
Teach their own.
Do you see you and Scott ever working together on another feature?
I think we kind of like the river split and we did our thing. You know, we did so much with Anchorage, put so much into it, and really like kicked our ass in the best way. And like that's our thing that we did together for the world. And like we're both like when we started, we were both like young actors who wanted to. Neither of us thought we were going to be directors, and now we're both directing. So that takes you in different ways too. I mean, honestly, why I got into acting, I ended up loving it, and it became my bread and butter and my, soul's delight or whatever. But at first I'm like, people liked me doing it. I didn't know I was good at it. And I started doing it. And I was like, you know what? This could be the long con to become a director, which I always wanted to be. Because as a director, you don't work with other directors really, unless you're doing an anthology piece. How often is that? As an actor, all you do is work with different directors, especially as a young indie actor who's going to work for free and do anything. Yeah. So worked with like 50, 100 different directors being like, oh, I should do that. But mostly being like, I definitely don't want to do that. I definitely don't want to treat people like that. I definitely want to avoid that. You know what I mean? Because no one can teach you taste.
So you learn how you want to comport yourself as a director through the positive and negative examples of the people you work for.
Absolutely, yeah. And I just love directors. I love actors too. So being an actor, you get to work face to face with actors and directors very intimately. And it was like on the job training for wanting to be a director. So 15 years in now, I'm like, I think I could do a picture now.
I recently had a conversation with someone who's a very capable actor and now also directing. And they had an experience where they had a director treating them in a way that they thought was uncool. And because they themselves are a director, they basically, I think after the shoot, said, hey, I wouldn't have done that to someone. I've got a problem with that. Which it's funny because there's this very like subordinate and leader relationship. Do you think that when an actor is also a director is also an actor, like the sense of hierarchy gets a little blurry in those relationships?
It could. I've seen where it has. Yeah, absolutely. It really depends what you're doing, how you're playing it. I like a level playing field where like we treat each other equally. You know what I mean? There's no accounting for opinions. So I don't think one artistic decision is better than any other one. Everyone's got their idea of what could work out. I'm open to hear ideas. At the end of the day, if I'm the director, we'll filter it through what I think the project is, but I want to hear everyone's ideas. I think everyone has a great idea. And the hierarchy can get mixed up if you let it, or if you play film school and it's like, well, I'm the director. Well, I'm the cinematographer. I need an hour and a half for everything. It's like, what are you doing? You're shooting quick. Like if we're going to play it by that way. From a place
of insecurity, people trying to assert their place on this.
Yeah, no. And we're here to like smash all of that. Like I don't think that's the most effective, productive way to work either. And that is, again, what comes, not to use the big P word again, but punk, that's where it comes from, it was like we were communal. Communal was the thing, what's best for the collective. What we are all spending is our time on this, the most precious resource, the most finite resource.
Yeah.
Let's spend our time well. Let's enjoy our time if we can. I know fun is a bad word, but I kind of like fun. So
no, I understand. Yeah, and honestly, the humbling thing is, if you do your accounting on a 5-figure film, a feature, and you try and ballpark all your volunteers' hours at a professional rate, that is a 6-figure film. And
Absolutely.
The difference is made up of everyone's volunteering. So you must have so much humility. You have to have humility going in.
Absolutely.
For the essentially donation that they're doing.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like the real thing all our money is going towards is paying people too. You know what I mean? There's a few large extra scenes in which it's going to be, we've worked out a way. We have a unique situation where a couple of people working on our movie are in bands and we come from punk rock. And what we're going to do is throw a show for fans only. That's a private show and it'll be put on just for them. They'll get some merch and whatever. In exchange, you're in our picture. You're some of the punk war bands in the movie. You know what I mean? And
That's very
most of these
cool.
kids already want to be in the movie anyways. It's like, yeah, but let's do something good for each other here on this. You know what I mean? But otherwise,
Yeah.
the money is for paying people for their time and doing it by ULB SAG standards, which, it's decent work. You know, it's like, I like it. I don't know, but like, so that's why we are beg, borrowing, and stealing everything else, like locations and equipment and transportation and food and
Yeah.
housing, and we're trying to get every little connect and pulling every favor and every thank you for having me, and checking in with everyone who said, "Oh, you do me a solid, I'll do you a solid." It's like, hey, that day finally came, So it really takes a village. Everyone's jumping in on the gumbo, throwing something in.
That makes sense. I have a question,
Yeah.
obviously born out of my own rumination. Every time you do a feature, I mean, it is at least a year of your life,
Yeah.
probably more.
Yeah.
There's
Three to
always a
five.
chance, for whatever reason, it'll be your last or only. I mean, there's always a chance. So, with that in mind, well, first, how do you make sure you're doing the one you really want to do versus
Great
another
question.
one?
Great question. Yeah. Wow. I'm still trying to figure that one out. But I think the ones that have worked out, that I feel the strongest about, that like personally and professionally and artistically, the ones that have worked out, I think it's like the thing that is like, you're going to bed, you can't stop thinking about. It's not a gig, it's not a job, it's not, oh, this is a cool career opportunity. Least of all that, God, please, least of all that. You know what I mean? What it is
Yeah.
like that you can't get it off your mind. And if you're the one creating it, and like you're the genesis, you're the writer, whatever, like producer, whatever you are that's starting the project, it's like
Yeah.
your brain, your free time should look like a doom scroll where there's always something else. You can scroll to the next thing and get
Yeah.
that, and oh, I got to go back and work on this again, like. Yeah, and my script does look like my doom scroll. It's weird. I mean, there are there are punk bands on tour and drag shows and military footage, and the village is on fire and fight. It's like, what just happened? What did I just see? You know what I
I
mean?
mean,
So
that's awesome, man. I think people have this great desire for the unmarket tested, the unfiltered, the authentic, And this, I hate to use that word because brands have been trying to find authenticity in their events for a decade, but I don't think they really can. But people want some weird thing that one guy made or one gal made. There's a craving for this,
yes,
to see inside Dakota's mind in a way that you just don't when you're watching a studio picture.
yeah,
Not to say that studio pictures can't be magnificent. This brings me to my second question, which is a little bit of an inversion on the previous one. Ultimately, everything in a picture needs to serve the picture. And, there's this phrase in writing, kill your darlings.
yeah, love
which
it.
means that, if you don't know what that means, listener, it basically means even if you love something, if it doesn't serve the story, you have to take it out if the story is going to be better without it. How do you make sure you are not like overstuffing? That you're actually serving the story with every shot, every bit, every idea.
Yo, great question too. Wow, great two-parter, bud. I see why you're a pro at this. Man, that's a great question. It's like, again, I'm going to go back to having the right people around you. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
you can get a little bit like too close to it. You can't see. You can't get full focus on it. You can't step back fully. You get a little too
yeah,
close into it. And so it's good to have people you trust who have similar tastes or who know your taste at least to like refer to. And I think at a certain point, if the project's, you set it up right, you did your homework, you've done everything right, the movie will start telling you what it wants. It won't let you set the camera there. It won't let you try to rush this. It won't let you force in this scene that's going to give some exposition you think you need to hand feed. It won't let you do that. It's like, nope, at a certain point, the project takes over and you are in service of it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And that's what I'm hoping for.
The
That's when
muse,
that,
if
yeah,
you were.
absolutely. And when
Yeah.
that takes over, you're just court stenographer now. You are a vessel for whatever's going
Uh-huh.
on, and you're just trying to listen. You're putting your ear to the ground, listening for the herd to come in.
Some people have absinthe to help them get there. Some people just have a sort of hyper focus.
Yeah,
I want to ask
absence
because this
makes
is
the heart
Futurist
grow
Letters.
fonder. Yeah, sorry.
This is
Don't joke.
Futurist Letters, and we try to take a look at the big picture. What do you see for the future of the movie as an art form? Say 100 years. There are some people who say, just as opera had its day of preeminence, that movies will become sidelined in the era of content. How do you feel about that?
I feel it's not too far off, and I feel just fine about it. Honestly, it
Hmm.
isn't like the main art form. Everything has its day. It was painting at one point. It was novels at one point. Then filmmakers were the new novelists. You know what I mean? And then it just
Yeah.
became media, and now it's like long form. We want long form. We want it at our disposal whenever we want, and as long and as much as we want. And movies have become a boutique thing, but it's a specialty now. It's like you've seen this resurgence. I think a great example is vinyl over the last 20, 30 years. Like when I was coming up, like punk bands were putting out vinyl because it was a dead art form. It was cheap to make and produce, all things considered. You know what I mean? Not as many people would
Hmm.
buy it, but it was the niche of the community. And now you can go to Target and get Taylor Swift's new album on double vinyl. You know what I mean? I never thought I'd see that day where vinyl came back and was like in the mainstream
Hmm.
and kids are buying record players for. I think movies are like that. We live in a unique place where you couldn't tell me that movies aren't at the best they've ever been. Living out here with all these different indie theaters, pop-up theaters, weird rooftop theaters, go see it in the graveyard, Cinespia, you know what I mean? Like there is so much movie culture out here and it's a promise of what could happen everywhere else. And I think I'm feeling right now a little bit of a crest of a wave. No one, not to show off my Bill Goldman tattoo, but nobody knows anything. You know what I mean? That's where we're at
Yeah.
right now. Like, and no one's sure, so you can kind of get away with something. I'm not saying what you're going to do is right. It might be though, and what you should do is attune it to you and what you have access to and what you want to do. Because you might be the next thing. I don't know, and they might rip off your model next. So I think indie filmmakers, indie artists, unique position right now with the tools at our disposal. So it's what
I
you
don't
make
want
of it.
to ask this in a trite way, so let me make sure I say it right. What I want to ask is, there are many filmmakers who are great at what they do, probably some that are bad at what they do too, but there are many filmmakers who basically get consumed by the film while they're making it, to the point where they have trouble maintaining outside relationships, living as a human outside the movie.
Yeah.
How do you feel you navigate the relationship between the filmmaker Dakota and the social non-film human Dakota?
Jeez. Great questions, bud. Yeah, I think I just got Jekyll and Hyde together finally. You know what I mean? I'm walking around like Two Face. It's a little bit of both all the times. It's hard to discern what's what. I think it's all parts of the personality. Like what is that thing? Like the Pink Floyd album cover with a white light and then it's
Yeah,
rain.
yeah.
Through the it's like that. It's one aspect of all of it. I can't really differentiate, or maybe some people who know me could say better. You know what I mean?
So do you think you used to have a Jekyll and a Hyde? Because in all the time I've known
Hmm?
you, you
Oh,
do. What did that
extroversion.
look like?
Extroversion did not come natural to me. That was a learned
Hmm.
thing that came through live performance and playing in bands and stuff like that. So that was a learned trait. I'm way more a homebody, wallflower, keep to myself kind of person than people might assume. But and I did feel like it was a performative aspect of me at one point. I'd have to turn on, and at a certain point, it was like, well, I'm just going to be me, even in perform. I'm just going to. I don't want to put on airs for anybody. I want to just. I don't want to be in competition with anyone else. I want to be in competition with myself. So I'm just like, what it is what it
How's
is.
that
Take it
going?
or leave it. It's been good. I don't know. I got some weird
Good.
tattoos. I've been on some funny adventures. Did like music for a VR game and ended up in Poland with friends at a film festival. It just takes you on weird adventures. And I
Do we
got a
get to hear
bag.
about any of these weird adventures?
Yeah, what do you want to know? I'll tell you about anything. Most of them
Well,
have. Yeah.
okay, so I don't know what's worth hearing.
Well, I don't know. Like it was just like going on film tour was awesome with Anchorage for the first time because
Right.
I was just like,
You
oh,
didn't
this.
get sick of it?
No, never. No,
Hmm.
I have a bag packed right now. If someone called me, it's like be in New York by Wednesday. I was like, should I do a
For
Cockney accent?
Anchorage, you would
What's
do
the
it.
movie? Whatever it is, like whatever the
That's
project
funny.
is. I grew up like traveling most of the year, or no, I would travel like 3 months out of the year in bands from the time I was 15 to the time I was about 20. that I'm used to going on tour and coming off tour. Real life is weird for me. Real life
So
is the performance. Like,
you said you're second generation punk in a way. That
yeah,
your mom took you on tour or sent
she
you on
called me
tour
out of
at
school.
15.
Yeah. Like, so my
So why
dad,
why I guess how did your parents fall into this and how did they come to want to induct you into this?
so they were hippies, but like to them, this was just the second coming of hippies. We just did our
Ah,
hair. We
okay.
did our hair different. We liked the music. We liked different drugs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's one of my favorite Flaming Lips LPs or EPs. I think it's called. Finally, the punk rockers are doing acid. Kind of sums up their joie de vivre, you know.
Yeah, I was going to say that explains a lot about the Flaming Lips to me.
It's certainly put me in a bubble and send me over the crowd, you know, like I want to be the bubble, you know. But like
I
they were
also want to
hippies.
ask just
Yeah.
because there's this long shadow over our country. Um you've got the punk subculture, you've got film, you've got your idiosyncrasies, you've got the community you're putting together.
Yes.
Do you feel the gravitational or the magnetic force of culture war in relation to your project?
Oh, I, not in relation to my project necessarily, not consciously, I guess. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Like what I made the thing, and I wanted to mess with fantasy and fairy tales, which isn't necessarily my bag. I've always been interested in mythology and stuff, but not necessarily my work bag. You know what I mean? And I
yeah.
wanted a little bit of escapism. And when I went in there and made this world and did some inadvertent world building and stuff, and got into that sci-fi fantasy little vibe, um, all of a sudden the real world started in invading into it in weird ways, in weird poetic little flourishes and stuff.
What do you mean?
It's just I just think if like you don't let the left brain know what the right brain is doing, like if what you're dealing with is heartbreak or a breakup or a betrayal or whatever, I don't think you well you can, but I don't set out to write that one for one. I need a genre, I need a disguise, I need a world, I need something to go into, and I don't even consciously go looking for that. In fact, often I'm trying to escape it in my real life. I want to get away from it as far as I can. And so left brain's working on one thing, trying to build and whatever, or right brain's working on that. And then the left brain starts throwing in weird psychic stuff and weird spiritual stuff and weird poetry
Yeah.
between the lines. And so you're not necessarily setting out to, I'm going to encapsulate this breakup you want to talk about. It's like, I'm making a war picture. Oh my God, that was about my breakup. It's like that chain of events, you know?
It is funny to have that experience as an artist where you go back to your old work and realize what you were working through that you didn't even know. Yeah,
Goosebumps.
that's that shadow work. It's like what you're talking
I
about.
just got
Yeah,
goosebumps. That's that Jungian stuff, the dream world. You know, like
uh-huh.
what's going on when it's not going on. That's when the real work's happening. You know, and often I like to do little practices, like I'll like sew or like make clothes or paint little things. Often in service of the project for clothes or art or whatever we need. But also, it's just this little practice when I'm working on writing or working on a story. Just a little physical, mindless thing I can do sometimes, and that's when the best ideas will come, because while this side of the brain's doing this side of the brain's working, believe it or not,
Hmm.
and you will surprise yourself, and you'll get to a line that like means something to you, and you go, ooh, oh, I know what that is now. But you didn't set out intentionally for that. It's like treasure hunting in a weird way. You don't know what treasure you're going to find, but if you do this, you might hit treasure.
So you've got a fundraiser going on right now. I just want to make sure we hit that.
Yeah, good
How
on you,
long is
bud.
that running?
So that is running 30 days. That's running from September 17th to October 17th. It's on Seed and
Okay,
Spark.
so we've got a little more time.
Yeah.
This being the end of September, you've got a couple more weeks, listener, for that. So please go check it out. How does one find this, Dakota?
So you go to seedandspark.com/fund.
Seed and Spark.
Seed and Spark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
seedandspark.com. It's a fundraising platform specifically for filmmakers and artists. So you go to seedandspark.com/fund/one last one, all one word. And you can contribute to the project. We have all kinds of fun incentives like personal letters, behind the scene photos,
Yeah, what
artwork.
does someone get, not necessarily physically, but what is the emotional experience of backing a project like this? Why should one do it?
Well, I've always done it for friends projects and stuff and projects that have interested me just because just like to feel a part of the thing. You know what I mean? It's
Mm,
like, it's way different. It's like what you're having a direct effect on an artist and their work when you're doing that. You don't know how much $5, $10 means to somebody. I'm not joking. That is, any contribution of any level is huge because it all adds up and it shows faith that people are believing in you and
yeah.
behind you. And it is like, it's that thing, that Coppola thing. Get the movie going, and then the movie's going, and now people are on, and it gets bigger and bigger. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
snowballs. So I don't know. Like that's the only way I know how to do it. Is like get going already. You're 5 minutes
I
late.
recommend it if you're watching, if you're listening, if you don't know Dakota, if you have never backed a film before, even just throw in a couple bucks. Like he says, it's partially just the morale effect of seeing how many backers you have, seeing that somebody cares. Even a stranger looked
Yeah,
at this page and said, "Hey, I mean, just think about what you spend $5 on." Honestly, I don't want to send two salesmen,
I
but
feel
it's a
you.
fun experience. You get to follow along with the movie. And even if the movie's a disaster, even if it never gets made, you've got a front row seat. I mean, that's an experience right there.
Yeah. Well,
So,
and think
not that
about.
that'll be you, Dakota. I'm just saying
Oh
in the
no, no.
general sense.
But think about it. How many bad meals have you had for $20? You know what I mean? At least
Yeah,
if it was a bad movie for $20, you got it forever. You could show people how bad it was.
that's right.
And also like there's other ways to contribute to you that aren't monetary. Like if you can follow the project on Seed and Spark, the more followers we get, the more they make it present on the main page. That gets it out to circles we don't even know. To spread it to your social circle on social media, share it with your people. I don't know your people, but one of them might like the movie and
Mm.
want to be a part of it. We're looking for locations, extras, people to help with transportation. There's so many ways to help out. So even if you're like, I don't think I can help, just telling someone about it helps. And if you do
It's
got 10
fun.
bucks,
I
or if you got
honestly,
if you got a grand and want to be an associate producer, come make movies with us. You know what I mean? Whatever
I
you want to do.
recommend it. Anything you can
Yeah. Thank you,
provide
buddy.
to a film like this. Seriously, guys. Dakota, thank you for
Yeah.
coming on.
Thank
It
you,
has been a
buddy.
pleasure to know you. Every time I run into you at an event, I feel like it just turns into Technicolor because it's just the sort of the meeting auras of artists who are in the game. It's a lot of fun. So
Dude,
thank you for being around. I hope you continue to make art in any form, this and beyond. And maybe we'll have you back on the show sometime to see how it all went on One Last One.
that would be wonderful. Yeah, we'll do one more one.
Yes, one more one.
Thank
One
you
last
so much.
one, too. The search for another one.
The search for more money,
Uh-huh.
as they say in Spaceballs. Yeah. And thank you so
Exactly.
much, buddy. It's so great to see you. I love what you're doing.
Oh,
It's
it's
been
been a
so
lot of fun.
wonderful following Futurist Letters and everything you're doing and the work you're
You
putting
were one of
out.
the very first people that, I mean, I think you must have been the first 5 or 10 people that we ran. We've just now run, I think, almost 100 guest authors, and it's just been great.
Phenomenal. And
Not to
in
turn it into too much of a love fest.
No,
but
and in print and the multimedia and just watching it grow. It's been so awesome. I love these conversations, so in depth. I put it on when I'm doing laundry like any other podcast. It's on
Right.
my list. You know what I mean? So follow,
Yeah.
subscribe, become a donor, do it. You know what I mean? Help us out.
Yeah.
Community. We're back to
Uh,
punk rock again.
We are. All right. Well, if you want to sponsor the Futurist Letters show, this is where your sponsor message will go. We are not going to have an after show episode because I want to spare you listening to me ramble in a sort of semi heat stricken September haze for 10 minutes. But I promise you, we are working on a co host catalog, a roster. We had Lillian Wang Solonic recently. We've got other people in the works. So we're just going to keep building community. If you are out there and you want to build that 5-figure movie, go ahead and message me. Please feel free. I'm sure Dakota's inbox is also open for a chat. And until next week, we will see you around the internet. Have a good one, everybody.